Chapter 5. Why are you treating him that way? Piper shoved Douglas. Why are you defending him? Douglas interrogated. You're the one out here screaming. I was playing a scary video game on my laptop. Piper threw up her hands. Poppy's Playtime just released a new chapter and it took me off guard. You haven't been smoking with that guy? Douglas accused her as if he knew more than he put on. Dude, you need to back the fuck off. You're so fucking controlling. Piper groaned, wanting to rip her hair out. I'm trying to protect you. Watch your mouth. It's not ladylike, her father intervened. You're the ones with weapons, Piper points at their waist. Who protects them from you? You a nigger lover now? When did you start taking your coffee black? Her father asked. What? I've never been with a black man yet. Piper looked at Sophia for reassurance and avoided eye contact with her father. Why do you have to talk like that? Do you have any idea how you sound? A bunch of Yankees from upstate New York looking down on a working man? Like, get a clue and a brain, Dad. Answer my question. Do you like that nigger? You came out here bubbly as all hell earlier, and now, before he leaves, you're trying to see him again? Her father accused Piper. Oh my God, that's why you're here? I was trying to talk to you, not Jabari. Then he told me to fuck off. You guys don't think you're grasping at straws? Piper knew none of these men were around when they had sex, throwing her hands up in the air. Don't worry about me. You didn't answer my question. Her father strained, trying to discipline her in front of her fiancé. Signor Piper, she has a bloody heart, Sophia interjected. Bleeding heart. My daughter a damn liberal. I don't know what the college is doing to you, but I'm not too fond of it. We might need to transfer you or take you out altogether. Once you get married to Douglas, you won't need to work no way. Dad, can you please stop trying to ruin my life? Piper rubbed the bridge of her nose. You look me in the eyes and tell me you ain't never fucked that nigger, Douglas demanded. I never fucked a nigger, Piper said without hesitation. Sophia said nothing, averting her gaze, excusing herself to find Jabari's truck. You three are acting like douchebags. Leave Jabari alone. He's making this place better, Piper demanded. He does do good work, the squire admired the trimming alongside the house. I mean, this was the main issue right here. And man, look at it now. I mean, I might need him for my mama's house. Shut the fuck up, Matthew. Douglas stomps off with Matthew in tow. Piper hugged her father. I'm sorry for yelling at you, Dad. I know you're not happy about your wedding, but understand you are what the movement needs. But does the world need your movement? Piper pleaded as she often did with her father to leave his friends. Sweetie, when your grandfather died, I told him I would do this. It was in his will, her father explained. You hated your father and granddad. Piper quickly withdrew, hugging herself as she attempted to calm herself down. You hate me too? Her father sighed, holding his heart. I hate the man you became. Piper surprised herself at her honesty, covering her mouth. You sound like your mother. You're a high school history teacher. How do you become the Grand Wizard of the KKK? We live in a mansion, and you can't see the hypocrisy of telling rich white men of all people that they're oppressed. I don't even want to talk about it. I won't be here this weekend. I'll stay with a friend and check out the museum. What museum and with who? So you can send Douglas to spy on me? No, because I'm your father. I'm trying to get a group together to head to NYC. I'm going to rent a hotel room and check out the sights, relax, and decompress. You want to see some guy? I won't tell old Dougie, her father teased. Dad, please stop trying to pry into my social life. Piper rubbed her arm, feeling guilty for lying. All right, but I'll at least drive you over. No, that's okay. Too old to get dropped off by your old man? All right, I get it. Well, I'll have Jeffrey take you. No, I'm going to take an Uber. My daughter's going to take a cab from Rochester to New York City. Are you out your fucking mind? Then pay for a hotel room and sights? With what fucking money? He interrogated. My own money, Piper shrugged. You selling those fucking pills again? You're supposed to be taking those motherfuckers. Her father flashed angrily. I'm not selling pills, Dad, Piper groaned. Good, keep you from doing dumb shit. All right, you fuck up your budget. Don't ask me for a goddamn penny unless you're going to start telling me what's going on with you. You need to be more like that gardening nigger. work an opportunity and make an honest living, especially if you don't want to get married. I would love to get married. I would hate being married to Douglas. He's not even my age. I got plenty of friends looking for a young wife. Gross, Dad. So creepy and so gross. What? They're good men. They're frickin' neo-Nazis. You say that like it's a bad thing. It's the worst thing you can be. What the hell are you gonna say when all those niggers, wetbacks, faggots, and camel fuckers come here? All those mixed babies are running around, and we don't have barely any white men left. What are you gonna say then? I'm gonna say, thank God I'm a nigger lover. Piper cries, rushing away not to face his judgment. Piper ran to the front of the house, spotting Jabari packing up his truck to go. He spotted Piper in distress, moving his earbuds as she spoke to him in broad view of her fiancé and squire. Hey, I'm sorry about the way they treated you. Piper held her chest. Jabari couldn't believe it as he looked at Douglas and then at Piper. Jabari nodded, gesturing for her to leave as he handed her a business card. I'm serious, Jabari. I'm sorry, but I'm going to come visit you this weekend. Clear your schedule. Piper informed him, heading off to console Douglas. Jabari hopped in his truck. He was getting away, deciding whether he would ever return to the property. No one had ever pulled a gun on him before, but he had never made love to someone's daughter right under their nose. He put in his aux cord, blaring Ric Flair drip from his pickup truck, and getting a giggle out of Piper as she nods to the music. You want me to fuck you and your bestie? Douglas joked. Not you. Piper muttered. I'm going to bed. I'll see you later. Hey, I made reservations for a restaurant tomorrow night. It's at 8 o'clock. When do you want me to pick you up? I already made plans this weekend. Well, cancel them. I want to take my baby out. Your dad says no more wasting time. Douglas rubs his hands together. I said I already have plans. Piper said slower. Your husband told you to cancel them. You don't listen very well, do you? I'll come to pick you up at 7, all right? Sounds perfect. Piper smiled, intending to have sex with Jabari at 7 sharp. Piper left him outside, returning to her room to rest after so much stress. The Klansmen, however, remained outside. They were gathering in the backyard, mystified by Jabari's work. Scott, do you trust that guy? Matthew asked. Piper's father crossed his hands behind his back, inviting the man to walk with him. Look, man, in 2008, who did you vote for? What? Matthew asked in shock. McCain, Douglas said proudly. I voted for Obama, Scott admitted. Oh, God, me too. Then Fox told me that Obama would destroy the country, and I joined. But I don't know, it seems a lot worse now after Trump. Don't you dare disrespect Donald Jesus Trump, Douglas puffed off his chest. I voted for Clinton, Scott shrugged. Douglas made me vote for Trump. If Douglas told you to shoot a man dead, would you? Scott turned quickly, bumping into both men. You want me to kill that gardener? He seemed pretty nice. I don't know. I never met too many black people, honestly. He didn't really seem like what we talk about, you know. Maybe somebody more like a thug or something. I don't know. Don't make me shoot that guy. I wouldn't tell nobody nothing, though. If y'all did, promise. I won't tell a soul. Matthew rubbed his neck. Douglas's eyes widened with rage and yearning. Why don't we kill him? I mean, that's why I joined up. Let's get his ass before he leaves. Scott grimaced. You think that's necessary? What are a few years in prison? We got boys in the inside. I'll be welcomed as a hero. Douglas shrugged it off. You get 20 to life. That's not a few years. You want to throw your life away? Matthew asked. I'm a white man and he's a black man. I doubt they'll even convict me for killing him. Look at the Kenosha kid. Caught off scot-free. If we don't carry ourselves better than them, we ain't no better than them. Scott elucidates. You're getting weak, Douglas accused. Scott quieted down, taking in Douglas's accusation and processing it. I said I heard you. I'm figuring out what to do with you. Scott turned his back on them, leading the trail forward and walking ahead. I don't think he liked you saying that, Matthew chided Douglas. Yeah, no shit. We need to be following that darky and beating his ass. We should have beat his ass while he was here. Can you fucking drop it? You're not the one hiring him. I am. You suggested some son of a bitch who robbed me and took my money. Look at how good my property looks. Why don't you shut the hell up and say thank you? You saw the way Piper looked at him? Like she wanted to eat him. I can't stand that, Douglas fumes, getting to his real problem. If you take that out on my little girl, we'll have a problem, Dougie. Why don't you do some damn push-ups instead of drinking so much? You might have some abs too, Scott warns. I'm going to take it out on that black bastard next time I see him. He embarrassed me in front of Piper. You're the embarrassment, Doug, Scott replied. Ooh, he got you, Matthew laughs. Douglas takes out his gun and shoots at Matthew's feet. Scott drew his revolver, fixing at Douglas's head. Doug froze, holding his hands up. Scott pressed the muzzle to Doug's temple, pushing Douglas down to his knees. Should I prove how strong I am, boy? Scott asked, taking off the safety and knocking the trigger, seething. You want me to be like you? Or like me right now? You gonna shoot a brother? Doug asks. If you ever hurt my daughter, I'll kill you. I don't care if you're every color of the rainbow. You hurt my pumpkin pudding, and this shit here doesn't mean a damn thing to me. I'll fucking end you over that little girl, Doug. Now get the fuck off my property and go home. You upset my daughter, and that pisses me the fuck off, Scott roars. All right, crazy old fucker, just calm down. Douglas backed away slowly. Scott fired a shot past Douglas's ear, sending the man running for his car and leaving Matthew behind. Isn't Doug your ride home? Scott asks. I mean, yeah, but I think I might walk home. Doug gets real mean when he's angry. Matthew slowed down. Come on inside, son. I'll have my daughter call you an Uber home. Scott offers. Piper was in the kitchen with Sophia, reminiscing about their afternoon together. You wanted it. I left you two alone. I expected you to come right behind me, Piper teased Sophia. I did not, but it was exciting after I started. Sophia laughed, covering her cheeks. What was exciting? Scott asked innocently. Both women scowled at him, quieting down as they observed the homeowner walking in behind Matthew, as if he were intruding. Tough crowd, hiding his hands behind his back and looking away from admiring Piper's beauty. Perdóname, por favor, necesito limpio en el baño. Sophia excused herself, putting up her ruse as she left Piper. Piper bit her lip, feeling the payback was real, confronted by her father and his squire. Did Douglas chase after Jabari? Piper asked. So that was his name, Scott asked. Piper gulped. I need to call Matthew an Uber home, her father demands. Is he paying for it? Piper asked. I don't have any cash on me, Matthew frowned. That's fine, you need a card anyway. Piper takes out her phone. You see how my bank account is set up, Matthew drifted. Are you quoting Kevin Hart? Isn't that a little hypocritical, Squire? Piper cut her eyes. What? No, that's not fair. He's funny. That ain't a race thing, is it? Matthew held his heart. Piper, what is up with you today? You're so on edge, her father notes. I'm not on edge. I'm just stressed out about this wedding. Piper lets out a deep sigh, feeling as she got a weight off her chest. You don't like Doug? Matt asked. Is that your business? Piper snapped, rolling her neck. I don't like that guy either, Matthew confesses. He's like Leonard from Let's Go to Prison. He gives Nazis a bad name. I like white people, but I don't hate black people. His daddy was an abusive meth head. He can't help it none, Scott defended. He can't help being an abusive asshole after seeing his father's failures. But you all hate people based on their biological, uncontrollable skin color? That's hypocrisy. Piper threw her hands up. Is it always like this here? Matthew asked, laughing with Scott. Will you shut the fuck up? Piper shouts at him. Piper! Scott barks at her. Take him home yourself, Piper shouts, marching off. It's not about how they look, it's about how people act, Scott clarified himself, shouting after his daughter what his mother taught him. Was he willing to lose his daughter over the dreams of his abusive alcoholic father, blaming the black man for his worries and threatening Scott about black people getting all the advantages? Scott believed they got jobs, scholarships, and programs for nothing but being black. Scott tried to see the need for it all. He didn't look out and see people struggling from the ashes of depravity. Scott saw people that went through the same thing as everyone else and were receiving favoritism. He couldn't explain to his daughter how their ancestors had been enslaved since Rome. He couldn't talk to her about how his parents and grandparents were sharecroppers working the jobs that black people left. All she could repeat were the talking points and crying about how black people were oppressed. White people oppressed white people too. Scott couldn't ignore how his movement tried to quell the growth of blacks worldwide despite everything. They were thriving regardless. And since all the kids have shifted to desktops and technology, men like him were forced to hire black and brown people because white people refused to do the work. If they did, it was never cheap. Scott sat consumed in thought, seeking the answer. He felt a familiarity with Jabari he never felt with Douglas. When Piper was born, Scott did everything possible to get his start, from selling meth and pills to working 2 jobs. Once he earned enough money, he could quit and go legit. By the time Piper went to elementary school, he could pay for his and his wife's education. Both were working in public education to keep their family together. Scott wasn't qualified to teach high school and was stuck in elementary school with all his positive memories of his daughter, until he kicked the drugs and got his master's. He was a working man, taking his fate into his own hands no matter what people thought about him. His wife's family hated him. His wife loved him to death, from living in their car to walking around their wing of the mansion butt naked. She held him down no matter what. Was he doing the right thing? "Boss, you all right?" Matthew asked. "Didn't you say you were walking home?" Scott sighed. "Come on, please don't make me walk. It's 5 miles away," Matt begged. "You can use the exercise." "Fuck off, I need to be alone." Scott kicked Matthew out, heading to his den to have a blunt.